Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting the like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from General Nothing 5798 from the Am I the A-hole subreddit and asks, am I the a-hole for not wishing my mum a happy birthday and then not letting her come to our house? I, 25 male, have a wife, 24 female. For the sake of the story, let's call her Amelia. Amelia and I got married 2 years ago, coming up to 3 years in June. We have recently just had our first baby, a beautiful baby girl. My mum never was a huge fan of my wife for reasons I will never know, but I don't care as I love Amelia so much and I've had to defend her against my mum multiple times. My wife's labour lasted much longer than we expected. She started on Thursday evening and delivered our baby on Monday during the very early hours of the morning. As you can imagine, it was a long process and she was exhausted, and so was I, as I wasn't sleeping unless she was asleep. My mum's birthday was on the Saturday and she had a whole party planned out. Amelia at this point was in awful pain very consistently, meaning I was constantly by her side doing whatever she needed me to do. Meaning that the Friday night, we got no sleep, so when Saturday came around, we both were fighting to sleep and could barely stay awake. Because of this, I just completely forgot it was my mum's birthday, as I didn't really look much at my phone, and if I did, it would be for entertainment for my wife and I together. We both agreed beforehand that when the time came, we would send the initial text that the baby was coming, but that would be it, and we wouldn't respond to any other text until after. Well, my baby girl was finally born and we announced it to our family. Then I got to replying to my messages from the past few days, and that's when I saw my mum text about it being her birthday, and she sent a few more after, expressing her anger for me not getting in contact. So I called her up apologizing but explaining that I genuinely forgot and it wasn't intentional. She went on to blame my wife by saying she purposely went into labor right around her birthday in order to steal her spotlight from her son, which I found really weird to say. From this comment alone, I got annoyed and just told her to leave me and my wife alone and that she is not welcome at our house for the next few days. She can't wait till she's over her fit to see her granddaughter. My whole family has been calling me an a-hole and that I'm a bad son for not remembering my mum's birthday. But I'm an even worse son for not letting her meet her grandbaby. It's annoying because all we want to do is enjoy our new baby together, just the two of us without anyone being a bother. So, am I the a-hole? Now, I just want to look at that last paragraph first, where it says my whole family have been calling me an a-hole and that you're a bad son for not remembering your mum's birthday, not letting her meet the grandbaby, etc. I always look at those and I wonder what she's been telling the rest of the family. Is there something additional there as well? Because anyone looking in this situation can tell, you're a couple that's absolutely exhausted. And as a family, and in my family certainly, and people that I know, they support their families in situations like this, not make it about themselves. And what the hell was your mum thinking that she can magically go into labor to steal the spotlight? Absolutely crazy behavior on behalf of mum in this situation. And obviously it's totally not the a-hole for me, but I sort of wonder what's going on between mum and wife in this one. And obviously I'm not blaming wife at all, but mum's obviously got something against OP's wife. Whether that her being her stealing her baby boy or whatever it is, hopefully we'll find that out in the update or comments. But anyway, let's go to those comments to see what they say. And the first sort of relevant comment on this one says, is this the first time your mum has had issues with your wife? And OP says, no, it's not. She tried to convince me not to marry my wife by bringing up her old Instagram with pictures of my wife and her ex-boyfriend. The thing is, she's ruined every relationship she's ever been in, and that's why. She's always been toxic to my wife, and it's not something I can put up with. I pulled her up on it, and she denies it. Next comment says, why haven't you called her out on it before? OP says, I have, but she said something along the lines of, I'm your mother, and you don't get to question me, and went off. We slightly cut contact after that, but not enough apparently. Then some more additional information about mum and OP's siblings, which says she gave birth 7 times. I don't know, she claims that she was able to go into labor whenever she really tried to do so and accuses my wife of doing the same. But my wife was overdue anyway, so naturally for all the time she was overdue, we were trying to start her labor, but never meant for it to fall on my mother's birthday weekend. She lost custody of 4 of my siblings. I don't know them, but no, they're both still teenagers and don't really understand anyone's side other than my mum's, because I don't know what she told my sisters. She's single, old, and lonely, and I'm starting to understand why. But Pinebox continues in the comments and says, not the a-hole. It's cute that your mum thinks your wife is talented enough to go into labor on command. It's bizarre that you're the only person in the family who realizes that the world doesn't revolve around your mum. Keep your boundaries, daddy, and congratulations. BK says, not the a-hole. Your mum should have understood when you told her you were with your wife in labor. Not be being and accusing. Tell/message your mum that after how she stupidly insulted your wife, specify that she accused your wife of choosing to go into labor to damage mum's birthday party. You will need an apology from her to your wife in person and on social media, and CC that request to all the family. Bobble Drew says, wow, it's rather amazing to see that your mother has gotten so much buy-in for her narcissistic behavior. You are doing right by your family. Set stone walls up around behavior and words and guard them zealously, not the a-hole. Independent Length says, not the a-hole. You didn't intentionally forget your mum's birthday. You were supporting your wife giving birth, a difficult one at that. As she could make your wife's difficult, scary labor about her and have the audacity to say your wife planned that to steal your spotlight screams narcissist. It's also completely normal to wait a few days for family to meet a new baby. Everyone but you and your wife are the a-holes here. Congrats on the new addition to your family. And one more comment from Jay Brood who says, not the a-hole man. Not like it should have been a surprise to your mother that the baby would be due around her birthday. Planning a big to-do for her birthday and then being mad when the way more important, completely predictable baby happened just makes it seem like she was just looking for this fight. Particularly so if she doesn't typically have a big birthday party and/or it's not a big one like the 60th or 70th. I kind of feel like I know where this one might go when we get to the update, just because of everything that's been said in the comments and the original post. But OP updates the post and says, hi. Firstly, I wanted to say thank you to everyone for the advice, and it really made me realize how serious this situation is. I took the advice and decided to post an Instagram and Facebook post before my mum got a chance to. In the post, I mentioned what my wife went through and purposely left in that she would never want to forcefully go through that. Just to make it clear to my mum and family what the truth is. We announced that whilst we soak up our newborn, that uninvited guests won't be allowed into our home, so please respect our privacy as we take time as a new family. This worked, and I got a lot of friends and even some family commenting their congrats to us. My mum has since asked when she can see her granddaughter, and we have just said that we will see her when she fixes her attitude towards my wife, as my baby won't grow up to see her mother treated like she is nothing. Also the fact that my wife never deserved to be hated in the first place. We're going no contact for now, and are as happy as we could ever be with our new baby girl. About my family, we have sent them a message with a full story, and now they feel awful about everything. Originally, my mum told them that my wife got induced and that she took some medicine to slow down the labor. I don't even think that medication exists, because apparently that's what I said on the phone, which obviously is not the truth. And my mum started claiming that I did that to compete with her. My sisters are only young and didn't question my mum, but now have been nothing but supportive. That being said though, I still have my guard up for now, just in case. Thank you again for all your advice and all of your kind words to me and my wife. We really appreciate it. Yeah, and I was not surprised to see that the mum had lied to the rest of the family to try and get them all on her side, because she must know that she's in the wrong, because holy moly. And I kind of suspected myself that it was going to be like no contact, at least for now, because I don't think she's going to come across as apologetic anytime soon from what OP was saying in the comments previously. All she cares about is getting that grandchild in her hands, basically. And there will still be a clear disrespect towards your wife. And you, and especially your wife, certainly won't be needing this around this time whilst you're getting used to the new baby and, you know, recovering from what you've been through. Huge congratulations, by the way. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Natty Nix, who says, my mother is an a-hole and I've been collecting dirt on her for years. So my dear old mother has been my personal hell for as long as I remember. starting from threatening to hit me with a bottle, trying to break down my door while screaming obscenities at me, to actually hitting me over the head with an umbrella and yelling at me when I cried. I was 11, by the way. She blamed me for my sister's divorce. I was 6 at the time it happened, for years, left for 3 months without a warning, then acted entitled to my forgiveness when she came back. Thrown things at me, broke 3 TVs and called me a myriad of names, ranging from mild things like useless waste of space to actual curse/punishment. The worst thing is, she acts like she's the best mum in existence around other people, complimenting me and stuff, and I can't have a support system because no one would believe me when I say she's awful. But I had an ace up my sleeve I kept for 2 years now. I secretly took videos and audios of every horrible moment and kept them in a safe folder. Had moments like the ones mentioned above and lots more of her talking crap about neighbors, friends, her own eldest child behind their back. Tonight, I'm packing for uni. By morning, the whole folder will reach multiple people, including my half-siblings, aunts, uncles, neighbors, her besties, etc. Bad luck and worst day, mother. You always said justice is better served cold. And obviously, lots of people were asking for an update on this one, which we will cover in just a second. And a lot of the comments, just a quick overview here, was just saying, get all your important documents safe. Make sure all that's packed up and out of the house at the same time as well. And maybe update the university to the situation so they're just aware of it. So then Opie came in with the update and says, first of all, thanks for all of the support. I followed the advice you gave me and packed all my documents. I contacted my uni to let them know that they shouldn't take any action based on what my mother says, and they should always look for confirmation directly from me. I also asked if there's any counselling service, and there is, so thanks for the nugget of advice. For all the people concerned about me being dependent on her financially, don't be. I have a lot of money that I collected around the years from odd jobs and competitions. My friend has also assured me that they're going to find me a job. Moving on to the update. I went through with it. I hit the send button the moment I was out of the immediate area, and I've been getting bombarded by emails and texts and phone calls since. After a while, I blocked most people. Apparently, from what my neighbor's kid is telling me, my mother is losing it. Thank goodness that she doesn't know exactly where my friend lives, or I guarantee you she would be here. From what I heard, she's being bombarded with calls from family and friends. Our neighbors are peed. For now, they're wet blankets, and I have no doubt they will bend in a few weeks. The kids say they heard yelling and things crashing. They went to check it out, and apparently she broke the glass living room table. Understandable. I don't care since I'm not there, and I didn't have younger siblings who will be affected. I'm glad I did this because it's relieving to finally let it all out. I've lived under this roof for 19 years, and it is almost surreal to let people know what was going on under there. I didn't expect to be believed because after all, they only saw the good mum act. You don't go from that to believing she's awful easily, no matter what you hear. But I needed to do it, for me if nothing else. It was surprising to find out that some people believed me. I went into this mostly for catharsis and chaos, but some relatives and one of my brothers actually support me. My brother even said I can crash at his whenever I need it, and honestly, I'm grateful. As for the people who told me I'm just like my mother, I will repeat what I said before. I hope you stub your toe and then, right before it stops hurting, you stub it again for the rest of forever. I hope every restaurant you go to serves cold food that tastes like dirt. Have a nice day. As for releasing the videos/audios online, I will be doing so once I'm settled and feeling comfortable enough to do so. I ask you to understand that it's a highly personal matter, and you only know glimpses of what I said. Putting it on the internet outside a little bubble of people that I can just block and won't have to hear from again guarantees that they will follow me wherever I go, even years from now. I already had this Reddit story come up on my FYP on TikTok mere hours after posting it. I need time to come to peace with the fact that if I do make the records public, they will be forever. So give me time. That's all I ask for now. Edit. Any updates I give on the situation from now will be solely on my profile. I feel like this is enough of a conclusion, but when/if I post the videos/audios, it will be here. Edit 2. After talking with my friend, I've decided that I will not be posting the content. It's something that I want to keep out of my life forever and try to move on. People on the internet don't need to view it, and I don't owe proof to anyone. Life is too short to spend thinking about it. I have had my catharsis and it's enough. And OP put one more post which says, my mother bought a whole new SIM card to try and contact me. You might be familiar with the story of my darling egg donor from my other two posts. Well, today she decided that wasting her money on a new SIM card to try and get in touch with me, read, yell at me and threaten me, it was a bit funny. I answered it, and the moment I heard her voice, I took one of my friend's cats and sat him by the phone and waited. He was confused as to where the voice was coming from and tried to eat my phone and then meowed at it. I think with that, she had noticed I wasn't going to say anything and she hung up. I've now blocked the number. And I'd probably go a step further on that one and probably change your number so she can't get in contact so easily. If she's willing to buy one SIM card, she could do it again. And sometimes phone numbers are attached to various social media profiles and stuff like that, which opens up another can of worms. So I think I would get those changed if I was in OP's position. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from non-PBB and says, am I the a-hole for refusing to go out and celebrate my stepson's first words? My 36 male wife, Fran, 35 female, and I have been married for 4 years. We have a beautiful home and a healthy daughter, 3 female, and we're doing amazing. Also, my wife has a son, Nick, 17 male. His father is out of the picture, never really was, so Nick has been part of our family since the beginning, without distinction to our daughter. Nick is on the spectrum. He's non-verbal or non-speaking as my wife says, but he has always been great at communicating effectively with Fran, and he's doing better every day. To my understanding, i.e. what my wife tells me, Nick is able to communicate via his phone and his AAC communication device. But he is still considered non-verbal because he has considerable difficulties with verbalization. Well, it turns out that a week ago, Nick said his first fully formed words. He mumbled something along the lines of, I love you. That's great, and I'm incredibly happy about it. The issue is that my wife, who was overflowing with joy, wanted to celebrate that very same week and go out and have a fancy dinner with us, her sister and her mother. It was a Friday night, and honestly, I didn't feel like going out and I wasn't in the mood to celebrate, but I said, okay, sure, let's go, to please my wife. However, Fran thought I was in a bad mood, and she kept teasing me about being grumpy. So I teased her with, well, we didn't celebrate our daughter's first words, did we? And that started a big argument. After that, I decided not to go out to celebrate Nick's mumbled words, and I stayed home. My wife was visibly upset, and the fight escalated on both sides. I pointed out who paid half of Nick's expenses, and she pointed out that she raised him by herself for more than a decade. We both said stupid things, to be clear. I didn't say the celebration was stupid or unnecessary, I just pointed out it was unusual and not a traditional thing people celebrate. That's it. I think she was drowning in a glass of water, and the situation was stupid and escalated out of nowhere. It's not that crazy to not want to go out and celebrate, is it? Needless to say, her entire family thinks I'm the a-hole. Now, this one felt like a very simple you're the a-hole to me. I was just putting myself in the wife's shoes, you know. She just heard her son, first time in 17 years, come out with the words, I love you. Not only would that be an absolute wonderful thing for your wife to hear, but what a thing to celebrate for Nick as well. His first fully formed words. Hell, I want to celebrate for Nick as well. And it may be being harsh, but it was the way like some of the last paragraph was written where he said, after that I decided not to go out to celebrate Nick's mumbled words and I stayed home. This is a special moment for Nick, this is a special moment for your wife, and it should be a special moment for you as a family. I think take a step back, reread your post and put yourself in your wife's shoes and realize what a big moment that was. But 10% of nothing says your wife waited 17 years to hear her child say he loves her. She probably thought it would never happen, and it is worth celebrating. Seeing how joyful it made your wife should have been enough for you to want to celebrate it too. You're the a-hole. Needs to be saved says you're the a-hole. His first words were I love you at the age of 17. Of course your wife was happy as a good mother and wanted to celebrate. But boo-hoo, you didn't want to go out on a Friday night, so acted grumpy at dinner. Didn't seem very mature. Apologize to your wife. Annabelle replies to that and says, not even just the immaturity factor, but what about empathy and compassion as well? Opie's wife never heard her son say he loved her before. My daughter took a long time to tell me she loved me as well. Speech delay, and the first time she did, I sobbed out of pure joy. It's a special moment, and Opie ruined it with his little baby tantrum. Let people be happy and enjoy things. The world doesn't revolve around you, OP. You're the a-hole. And one more comment from Whelp, who says, you're the a-hole. I hope you reread your post in a day or so and imagine it was written by someone else. You sound petty and resentful. You downplayed Nick's achievement. Nick's mumbled words and squelched your wife's joy. You've also been keeping track of how much you've contributed to Nick's expenses, so your without distinction to our daughter isn't true at all, is it? In quotes, I don't want to make this a big deal, then says, you've already made it a big deal. Now it's time to apologize profusely, and since you've been married to his mother for 4 years, it's time to get to know Nick. You said this, in quotes, to my understanding, i.e. what my wife tells me, Nick is able to communicate via his phone and his AAC communication device, but he is still considered non-verbal because he has considerable difficulties with verbalization. And says, why would you need your wife to tell you that? By this point in your relationship, you should not only be well informed on Nick's abilities and disability, and you should not only understand how he communicates, you also should have mastered communicating with him on your own, without distinction to our daughter, indeed. Yikes. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below as always. Absolutely love to hear them. Now just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories, your love, your support, your time, and sharing your crochet and your crafting projects over on Twitter with me. I've been loving seeing the pictures. Thank you so much. Just incredible. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care. Much love.